Morning, folks. Welcome to another episode of Doing It 365 with your host, Sir Influential out of Flags 365. Today's episode is all about securing the bag, securing yourself. You are the most important thing to yourself, for yourself, of yourself, for your family. So we spend a lot of time chasing money, chasing wealth, chasing goals, chasing dreams, but not ensuring that we are securing them for generations to come and for even our own future. So this episode is all about education and learning how to better leverage ourselves financially in these times and going forward. So my guest today is a fantastic, I keep saying it every episode, but it's true. All my guests are fantastic. Really, really fantastic. She knows what she's talking about, yeah? There's many people out there talking things, but this lady knows what she's talking about, and that's why I have called upon her. I've taken her off her busy schedule. She could be in the Maldives doing a workout, listening to some soca, but she's here talking to us about, insurance and financial leverage and how to, build wealth and secure wealth. My guest today is the beautiful, superb Andrea from She Talks Finance UK. Andrea, my dear, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's well. How are you?
I'm brilliant. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like mega embarrassed and shame by the end of it because the questions you're gonna ask me, I'm gonna be like, oh no, I don't have that. Oh no, I didn't think about that. Oh no, I didn't. And then at my age, it's like, you kind of should know that. So, welcome everyone. Give us a little bit of back history about who Andrea is, what she does, and how she got into the world of insurance, finance, and wealth.
Yeah, no, of course. Hi guys. So my name's Andrea. She Talks Finance UK is my brand. I am the CEO of that brand. I am a specialist, protection specialist manager. I have a team of 20 at present. So for us, it's super important that we are sharing the knowledge about personal and business protection. When I'm talking about personal protection, it's things such as life insurance, critical illness, protecting your income, which is very important, and things like, covering funerals and so on. And when we're talking about business insurance, it's public liability, indemnity, all of these other things. The thing is with insurance, it's not as complex as people think it is. There is a lot to it. It's not a simple product. And myself, I'm here to help people make sure that they know the importance of having it and having the right protection. So I'll just talk a little bit about myself. I'm going to go way back into time.
Please do.
So I had my first son at age 19, trotting along, not really doing much per se, probably working, but just living day, nothing really much going on. And then I think only just 2 years ago, someone came to see me to do my policy. Yeah, so they wanted to educate me. And at that moment of time, so, going back, have 2 kids. I had no protection in place as a mother, as a, living day to day, not much income coming in. I had nothing. Now, at that moment of time, if something was to happen to me, my children wouldn't have been left with much. If I'm going to be honest, they wouldn't have been left with nothing, and potentially whoever would have been looking after them would have felt, financial strains. And, it's only when I was educated, I was straight away like, do you know what? There is nothing that anyone can come and tell me about protecting myself and protecting my children, and I wouldn't do it. And bearing in mind at the time, I wasn't even working. So I just took something very, very small. It was enough to know that if something was to happen to me, my children would be secure. So the person who came to see me, they always, kind of talk about the role as well. And I was kind of looking for a change. Like I said, in every role that I've kind of done, I've never really progressed in that. I've never wanted to, I should say. I always used to see people getting promotions, doing this and all of that. And I just thought, no, I'm just not feeling it. So life was very up and down in that sense. It was just, I would definitely definitely consider myself as a free spirit, you know, and that's why I used to always, tempt, because when I want to pick up myself and go, I want to go. Like I haven't got time for it. So, yeah. So I thought, oh, let me give this a try. You know, it would be nice to help others, because I knew at that point I lacked knowledge, and I know many others do. And even what you were saying, so influential, it's just all right. Yeah, there's things that you should know, but it's not our fault. I'm telling you now, a lot of us haven't been brought up with these things, and that's okay. But as long as we're taking in the information now, then it's not a problem. We can fix it, you know. So going back, so started this role, and literally I just bought into the vision of it all. I bought into the fact that, you know, I was helping others, and I think when, you know, what clicked to me was when I had a client pass away. So I reached out to her son, who I know, and he said, oh, Ange, can you do my mum's policy as well? And I said, yeah. So that was March 2019. By May, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. By November, she died. So this was all in the first year of me starting this. And the moment when he called me, and that, on that day, it was my granddad's funeral, and he called me, he said, my mum's passed. And I really just sat. I remember being in the funeral car, and I just sat and I thought, wow, like I was honestly in shock, and I couldn't believe that someone could be okay today and then just not okay, like and just pass away in such a short space of time. And it really hit. And I just thought, from that moment, I'm not going to shut up. If I'm honest, I'm going to keep spreading the word about having insurance in place, having protection in place, because guess what? Her son got a payout. You know, she left 5 siblings. They are very good now in that sense. You have to understand that, yes, death is not something that we often like to talk about, but one thing that's guaranteed in life is death. From the moment that we are born, we are all dying. We're just waiting for our date. Do you understand? And it might sound a bit harsh, but sometimes people need to hear it harsh. So so in that sense, I don't know what we're all holding back from or what we're procrastinating from. There is many critical illnesses out there. As you get older, things tend to happen. It's life. But what are we going to do during those times? How are we going to cope? How are our family going to cope financially? You know, so I just, so that was it for me. That made me say, do you know what? I'm going full in with this. I've built a very good brand. I have a great team as well, who I mentor, you know, who I support, who I encourage, you know, so that we can all win together. We can all grow together. We can educate, you know, we are insurance advocates, and that's it really.
I love that. Thank you so much. Again, folks, please, no trigger, not to give any trigger, to feel, so trigger warnings. Obviously, we're speaking about things that are gonna probably be touching to you and, you know, probably trigger you in a way. Please bear with us. Please be understanding. We're just trying to educate, as my T-shirt says, and show you, you know, the avenues and steps that you can potentially start to take very quickly, very soon, to, you know, put yourself and your family in better position so that way for future events. Because, like Andrea said, time is the master, and time keeps going, and life keeps going. So always ensure that you're doing necessary things to, you know, to prepare yourself and your family for those times and moments. And it's very important. And I love the fact that you have a real life scenario. You are a real life example. So many of us feel like it's not us. It's not gonna happen for now. That's a long time. That's a far away. And really and truly, just like that, you don't know when it's going to be your time to have certain things in place. You understand? As I'm saying, prevention better than cure.
Amen.
We're going to say insurance better than none. Definitely. So it's important, folks, to really take the time to examine, explore. Once again, the website for Andrea's website is in the description box below. Her Facebook is there. Her Twitter is there. Her Instagram is there. Please be sure to contact her straight after this when we finish everything, and get your questions answered in greater detail. Find out what's available to you. I know for a lot of people like myself, it's a thing of, I'm young, I ain't gonna worry about that right now. That's not an issue for me right now. Oh yeah, I'm gonna remember to tell my mom or my granddad or my
Yeah.
uncle about it, or my older cousin or my older brother about it, because they're more of that age. When really and truly, how young can you be to get insurance? And
Uh,
are there different kind of insurances for different age groups? And give us a little
yeah, because
background about that.
yeah, so it's always better to get it when you're younger. It's so much more cheaper. I'll be honest with you. So insurance is cheap at its cheapest when you are young, when you are fit, when you are healthy. Yeah, so there is a lot of things that kind of determine what you are going to pay for your insurance. Um, so 18 is the age that you can start getting your own insurance. Definitely recommend having it, but it's not only just life insurance. I always ask this question. So when I have a consultation, when someone has a consultation with me, I always say, if something was to happen to you at this present moment in time or in the future, would there be a financial strain on your family to get the money together for your funeral? I need to hear that answer. And if the answer is like, I've got some that said, no, my mum is in a really good position in life. And I'm like, okay, that's absolutely fine. But I need to ask that question. So I need to hear you say yes or no. And if you say that, there would be a financial strain, then okay, you're going to have to get a life insurance that is going to cover that cost, because at the end of it all, we're responsible for ourselves.
Yes.
It's not anyone else's responsibility to be using their money to bury others, and at the moment funerals are around 15 to 20,000. I know my client that passed away, her son spent £22,000, on a funeral for a good send-off for his mum. So it is expensive, but there is different products. It's not just life insurance, guys. I'm all about people protecting themselves whilst they're still here. Protecting their income is my favorite. So in the event that you're unable to work due to any illness or an injury, at the moment, not redundancy, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. They've taken it off the market. But yeah, if you're unable to work due to an illness or an injury, you could receive a percentage of your salary coming in every month. Don't need to rush back to work. This is a great policy for people that are self-employed that may just get a short sick pay as well. Because what you have to understand, so influential, it's the simple fact that people are sometimes not well. They could even be stressed. They have bad anxiety, and we are forced to go back to work because the bills need to be paid. We are when sometimes some of us have not even recovered and we go back, and all that does is make it worse. We have to go back to work when we are recovered, when everything is good. There's no point going, just because you have to pay your bills. But that's life, because a lot of people don't know about protecting your income. And this is not a product that's advertised on the TV. You will not see it. You will see life insurance. You will very much see life insurance, which is advertised. But then where they make a mistake as well is they always put old people with life insurance, or families and things like that. So I think people always get confused that, oh, if I have no children, I don't need it. But there is other products out there that is very much about whilst you're still here. And another one of my favorite one is critical illness. This is, because obviously 90% of the time before we die, we get sick. Very rarely do we die in our sleep, let's be honest. So it's important that if something happens, you are diagnosed with a critical illness, God forbid, then you would receive a tax-free lump sum. You do as you please. If you need to adapt your home, then you can do that. If you want to say, do you know what, I've gone through something very traumatic, I'm actually now going to go traveling because this is something I've always wanted to do. You can do that with that money. And I think now that being in the business now in this particular sector for 2 years and 3 people, so obviously I've got a client that's passed away. I've had another one diagnosed with breast cancer, just received their payout. Then there's another one that's not my client, it's a colleague's client. Again, breast cancer. All 3 of these are breast cancer. That lady, the last one that just got her payout, age 32. So things do happen, and we have to understand
is
that.
young, yeah, because that's
32
not
is young.
one
But
year.
again,
That's 1 year before me.
exactly. I couldn't even imagine going through anything like that at that point. And you know, it's sad, but it's true. And I just want people to not just consider life insurance, which yes is important, but some people might feel like they don't need it. You know, they might want things for whilst they're still here, and that's okay. You know, something's better than nothing. I'm always going to say that is always my term.
Definitely.
You know, even if it's something small, everything I do is tailored to affordability. I don't want anyone side-eyeing the direct debits and pressing cancel, because believe it or not, that's the first thing people cancel is life insurance. They
Which
cancel it. Things are hard.
Things are hard, but they could be a lot harder. So why would you cancel the thing that's going to
Because
protect
they
you the
don't
most?
think anything's gonna happen now. You know, they don't think. And I've got a lady in my team on Insta. She's called She and Shaw's, and her dad cancelled his policy 3 months before he passed away and left her a whole load of debt. So that's one of her motivations why she's in my team, and you know, everyone needed to know, because yeah, her and her family really felt that, you know, just by him pressing that cancel. So going back to what I was saying, affordability is key, you know, so everything is tailored to that. You know, you can have
And also,
something
I
small.
feel like to add to that as well, I feel like
Yeah.
folks really need to make that a mandatory thing that they have to pay. It's like how you pay your car insurance. Nobody cancels the car insurance. You don't cancel you're even more hesitant to cancel your phone insurance. So why would you cancel your life insurance? It's really something that I'm now stopping and saying, of all the things to cancel, better you cancel your YouTube or your Tidal or your what do you think name, Sky or your
Yeah.
Netflix. Better you cancel them, because when things get rough, that's not Netflix gonna pay you out for all your months of things. They don't care. They're gonna continue showing the films in bed. So
It's true.
it, it's again, it's I think, and I feel like for a lot of people, there's like a stigma or a taboo around the insurance world, and obviously, like with many things and many products that are sold to people, there's been mis-selling,
Yeah.
misinformation. So people have this, especially people of our demographic and
Yeah.
culture and background and age. There's
Yeah.
this, I'm not too sure because somebody in my family or a friend had it and it didn't pay out properly or it
Yeah.
didn't work so well. So is it really worth it? And sure, you can't bother with that right now. And people don't realize that them having a lackadaisical attitude towards these things and just leaving it to whatever happens. And if I saw, really, really, really is not the way to go. So, how do you go about reassuring or informing people that, listen, we have life insurance and we have income protection insurance, and we have both of people that you said self-employed and employed as well.
Yeah.
What are the differences between the self-employed and the employed? Like, can somebody working a 9 to 5 get something to cover them? For example, prime example, right now we're in
Yeah.
the pandemic. A lot of people, including myself, have lost a job, whether it's through dismissal or redundancy. What can be in place as somebody that is out of work now? How would that kind of policy save you?
All
Or
right.
save you?
If you had taken out income protection before the pandemic, then you would be covered for loss of, you know, not being in a job, redundancies. However, at present, because of what's happening, they are not covering anything to do with that. You do at present need to be in a job, or you need to be self-employed. And we have income protection for self-employed, that no proof of income. You just need to prove that you work more than 16 hours a week. I have with this one about 7 people claiming it at present for stress, anxiety, someone injured their foot, you know, all different things. It's literally just being signed off by the doctor. Now, so just having a doctor's certificate, and then you can start the process. If anyone that is working, that is employed, but they get like a short sick pay, after their sick pay finishes, this insurance would kick in. So again, it's a percentage of their annual salary coming in every single
Every
month.
month.
Yeah.
And how long is that for? Is that for 12 months at a time?
So you can, yeah, depending on what you pick. Obviously, if it's for 12 months, it's normally a little bit more cheaper. If you want to claim for a full 2 years or 5 years or full term all the way to retirement age, it's going to be more expensive. So there's different covers to suit different needs. All income protection is done to retirement age, but you have claim periods and then you have breaks in between unless you go for the full term one. And the full term one is excellent because, you know, with a lot of people, if they suffer with sciatica, arthritis, sometimes they end up being deemed as disabled. Now, they will pay you all the way up until retirement age if you've got full term. So, you know, that is an excellent one. And kind of going back to what you said, sir, is about people not receiving payouts and things like that. Now, I'm going to make this very clear. The only reason why you don't receive a payout is there is something that you have not declared. There is something that you have not declared. At the point of your death or being diagnosed, they go for your doctor's report. They go to see your doctor's report. And there were some people that will say they're a non-smoker when they're a smoker. If you smoke occasionally, you're a smoker. If you have a vape, you're a smoker. If you smoke shisha on a regular basis, you're a smoker. So that's what I'm there to do, is to make sure that everything is correct on that application. So I am the small print. You know, I'm going to let you know that, no, actually, if you do smoke shisha, if you do, you like your cannabis, which is fine. We've got a great provider for anyone that does smoke cannabis as well. But I'm stating everything. One thing I'm not doing is risking my job for anyone. So I'm very, very, very anal when it comes to medicals. I ask many questions. I'm just very thorough in that side of things. So that is literally from what I know of, there was something that was not declared. Insurance pays.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. This is now getting into the real meat of it, the belly of it, because it's important. And I feel like for those watching, those listening, please take little notes. Don't tune out. Don't minimize this. Sit back, relax, and really have a cup of tea, have a bottle of water, and understand about the different types of insurance, the different types of protection. Shouts out to everybody listening and watching live. We have Maine saying morning, CC saying morning, great information, Tiana Rian saying wow, you really don't hear much about other types of insurance and protection. Good to know. So this is what it's all about. Education, folks. Please, right now, take a moment and really be listening and tuning, because I'm learning, because my mom has insurance, and I remember when she was sitting out in hers and something went wrong, and she cussed me off and said, oh, you never make sure say this and this checkbook, and it's like, okay, like,
yeah,
get your mind in gear for that, because you know unexpected things do happen, and it's really, really important. And how cheap can insurance be? Because I feel like, again, right now we're in a time where everybody is cutting everything. Even up to last night, I was looking at my expenses here, and I'm like, Martin, how much is my actual expenses per month?
yeah.
I have this subscription, this for Twitch, but I've paid this household bill, I paid this other household bill. All right, cool. You know, so you like a little cheeky, you know, take away every other week or something. So I have to kind of factor that in. But then it's a whole lot. Just the bare necessities. Stop, and what are the things that are the non-negotiables that you must get done? And I was like, all right, boom, boom, boom. There's like 6 of them. So they say, okay, 6 of them, and it come up to X amount. So they say, okay, that's all right, you know, compared to what it was 2 years ago when you was just living frivolously and
Yeah.
money, and through you earn money like that now, you can literally buy a buckle of Ciroc on the front birthday. Yeah. What? What you say? Not those cars. Yeah. Come. What? What you say, darling? What? Guys, yeah, let's go. What you say? Jerk walk from Dutchies. Come on, easy things. And now you're literally looking at the must do's, the must purchases, and then you say, all right, cool. What are they now? The secondary must purchase, because let's keep it real. Everybody young, everybody looking good, everybody's beautiful. You have a partner, you have a bae, you have a boo, whatever term you want to use, yeah? You're out, you're socializing. So you have to take your partner out sometime. All if a creams you go, or you go to look a drive-in.
Somewhere, innit?
Somewhere you go buy a little hot dog in the cinema or something. You can't, you see me, or you go, even if it's Netflix and chill, you have to buy Deliveroo, or the Indian or the Chinese, buy the pink Moscato as well. So it's almost like you have to factor in those things as well. Do you have advice for couples, and what's your budgeting and strategy tips that can you give us? Because it's all well and good talking about, oh yeah, get a policy, but how do we ensure that we're not breaking the bank or
Yeah.
putting ourselves under unnecessary stress. So what are some tips you would recommend? Is there like an app or website, or do you provide any kind of like budgeting sheet or something
I've
like
got budgeting sheets. Yeah, so I was going to say that. So I offer free consultations. Like I said, no one's not obligated to anything. When I go through the consultation, we actually go through budgeting. So we break down what your outgoings, your non-essential outgoings. So that's if it's your hair, your nails, subscriptions. We fully break it down. So we don't use. So normally it's 10% of your disposable income, but again, it can be less than that. So you're never ever going to have a policy that you can't afford. So, and also I'm always helping my clients in a sense that have. So basically you should have, for me, I've got 3 different accounts, bank accounts. So I've got my main account where my commission is paid into, and then I've got my Monzo account, which I will call my play money. So I transfer a certain amount that I'm allowed from my main account into my Monzo account, and that is that is how I budget, because with Monzo you can see each time how much you spend a day. I remember one time I see £100 a day for a good 3 days. I said, oh, what's going on here? So again, we're not going to do that. And on food as well, it was ridiculous.
That's the killer, 1 second. You see, food
That's
is one of them. Listen,
it's Uber Eats.
I think we need to open up an insurance food hub, so you can
100%.
buy a burger and it goes towards your thing, because them have your week on the food, man.
I know, it's so bad. I'm very, very bad. But again, when you get to see it, and if you do your budgeting on a monthly basis, sometimes what you see, it will sicken you. So it will allow you to fix up for the next month. So that's what I always suggest, just putting your money, your play money that you're allowed to use, all your bills coming out of your main account, and then you've got your savings and emergency savings separate on in your other account as well. So I've got 3. So I've tallied up all my outgoings, all my bills come from one set place. Great for people that as well want to get a mortgage, or you need to show that you're very much together. So even if that's the plan, just start organizing yourself now, because the worst thing is they don't want to be seeing all of this different things coming out of your account. It will look very, very messy. So my suggestion is add up all your outgoings, and let all of those direct debits come out of that account. And then you've got your, spending money, do as you please, hair, nails, or all of those stuff, subscriptions out of that account. And then you've got your emergency savings, depending on who you are in that sense. I have about 6 months. It's important that I have that much, and then I've got my additional savings as well, of course, for property. And then so it's entirely minimum. You should have 3 months. You should have 3 months emergency savings minimum.
I got disagree with you right now.
Oh, why?
With everything that has happened,
yeah,
people should be aiming for 6 months to a year now.
Yeah,
saving.
true.
Stop
with what's going on. Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, or if you're just listening in, or if you're just watching and you just catch this part, start save and make sure you have 6 months of savings, because you never know, especially if you're working for people. Applied, trust me, take it from me, personal experience. Yeah. When them ready for dash your way,
as they do,
lateness, punctuality, not hitting targets, you and the manager don't agree again because you step on them car, whatever reason. Make sure you have 6 months to a year worth of savings now. You can't do the 3 months again.
Yeah, that's old school, isn't it? It's true.
Yeah, your parents to say everything come uncle and save for the rainy day.
But sir, that's where your income protection kicks in, because you can potentially have your 3 months savings and then have your income protection to kick in after that 3 months. But then, because you remember, if you're saving, do you really want to use your savings?
Exactly. Thank you. The education, you don't want to use the savings. Let me be real. That's what my before my dad passed away, that's how he used to operate. And it's something that my mom always speaks highly about him about. He will drink, he will go out, he is a people person like me. I get that from him definitely. But when that man save, every payment save. And then you wonder how he save so much. Because he might drink all at the same time, but he have the savings there set up properly. And then he's the guy. I remember when he had to get an operation and surgery, and he had to fly to Miami for it, because in Jamaica, when it's a certain level or something, you have to fly out for it. He
Okay.
was borrowing money from his friends. He wasn't touching his savings. He said, "No, I'm not touch that. I'd rather borrow the money from you and pay you
Yes.
back from something else." But
Yes.
in keep savings there. So again, people, it's just balancing that and knowing that don't rush to the savings. It's there for a reason, because there
Yes.
might be a greater emergency, a greater need for it. And if you
Yeah.
don't touch it, so it's, as I said, so you're right. I love that. I love that that suggestion, that tip. You have the three different accounts. Monzo, obviously, there's a little bit of skepticism about Monzo right now. Monzo closing
Yeah,
quite.
I don't put no more than 1,000. That happened to my friend the other day. One of my colleagues, they shut her account and took her £450, 4 weeks. All now she ain't got it back. But once she told them that she's an FCA regulated advisor, they were quick to try and do something about it. She had to
Exactly.
literally. That is, how can you do that to people?
But
Oh,
then again, I think they say, I think in their terms and conditions, it's something about what you use the account for. So if you're getting payments in and it's saying like product, so people are paying into you like you're a business, then it might ring up an alarm bell in their terms and conditions. But that's
it
something to
does.
review. So I feel like
Yeah.
people just need to double check and review. So I would
I think
agree
you've
with
got
you
to. Yeah,
with the
you've
Monzo.
got
So
to.
still do the Monzo, but keep it as, like you said, play. That term play,
I
keep it
play
play with a
money is.
small amount. And then you have the next accounts now. Like, so for me, I would say the high street bank accounts,
Yes,
you can do the other
Barclays,
things with
yeah,
Barclays, Nationwide, Halifax,
Lloyd, yeah,
Santander,
them
Lloyds.
ones.
You have your savings in one, and you have your direct other one like that, and then so you're good to go. So people, don't be afraid to open up another bank account. And obviously you ain't got to tell them that you have an account elsewhere, but just
No.
have it there. So that's, and probably what you put for some people, sorry, what you could do as well is set up a standing order and then leave that card with somebody else that you trust, who is not easy to get to. You know, that cousin that live quay far away. You can't just turn up to them house just like that. Leave the card with them, and
Yeah,
it's also, them not gonna just go and tap away your money.
yeah. No,
So
mine's
you
my dad. My dad, I can trust him with anything. He's such a, yeah. You just, my mum on the other hand,
every
it's
parent,
always
each
one.
some parents have it, yeah, always one parent have it. So yeah, definitely. So again, folks, take this moment. If you're not following Andrea on IG or on Twitter, it's She Talks Finance
Finance
UK
UK.
on
Yeah.
IG, and then on Twitter, it's ST Finance UK on Twitter. The website is below in the description box as well. Get informed, get tuned in, get tapped in. I want to talk also now about the how it is for parents now. Um, there's a lot of people having kids now in these times. Some are way in a bit older to have kids, some are having it younger. You mentioned earlier that you can start having your insurance when you're 18. So for a young adult, say you're 19, 20, you just had a baby. Can you take out insurance then? Is the insurance different? How does it? And also, do your benefits increase as you get the longer you have the plan for? Let us know how those kind of policies work.
All right. So my suggestion to someone that is young and has a baby or a child that depends on them, I would definitely say family income benefit. So it is a type of life insurance, but it pays out on a monthly basis. So in the event of her death, there would be a monthly income coming into the household, yeah, or coming to a child. But the children can't receive that money until they're 18. So you would have a trustee. Now, a
Mm.
trustee is what it says it is, someone who you trust to receive that money on the behalf of the child. Yeah. And they need to be given that money or, maybe helping look after that child with that money. Okay. Very, very important. That is one of my favorites because what you have to understand is, can you trust everyone with a large lump sum of money?
No.
They could see it and get a bit excited. They could think of the Porsche that they always wanted. You just don't know. So for me, the safe option is if anyone has any dependents, children that depend on them, or even some have adults that depend on them, have a monthly income coming into that household on the event of your death, which is a very, very excellent one. Literally, you can just do it a term. So it is a contingency plan. It will expire at some point. You may not get anything from it because remember the aim is not to use your insurance. not to use, especially like the family income benefit, the short-term one. You want to outlive it. You want to outlive the critical illness policies. You want to. The only ones that I would say main probably use is the income protection, because that's fine. That's just general sickness or, anything like that. And a whole of life, which I'll come on to in a minute. So you can have it increasing in line with inflation. So the amount will grow, the payout amount, but what you have to understand, the premium will also grow as well. Now,
So how much do you pay?
Yeah, it will grow. And I'm a little bit skeptical on putting my clients with that. For me, I rather a set amount, which is called level. So they know that what they are paying every single month, they can budget, that in. So for me, I don't like to see things go up, things that I'm not aware of. We don't know with regards to inflation as well. And that's when you potentially could cancel because you won't be able to afford it. It could get ridiculous. So it is a great policy, of course, especially because what funerals cost now, what it's going to cost then, there is going to be a big difference.
Oh my.
Yeah, so it is good to potentially have that, but you have to be prepared for that premium to increase. And if you're not, for me, it's better that you just have a level, and at least if you're able to contribute. So I will say there is 3 different types of life insurance. Like I said, the family income benefit, which pays out on a monthly basis. We've got the lump sum, which majority of the banks sell. So a lot of people have that one where they say, oh, if anything happens to me, my kids are going to have 200k and all of that. That is, the I would say the normal life insurance, which everyone knows about. And then we've got the whole of life, which is my favorite. So as it says, what it is, a whole of your life, at the point of your death, that money is guaranteed to be paid out to your family. As long as you're meeting your premiums every month, it is a guaranteed payout. So they're not
roughly
cheap.
how much is that?
All right, I'll tell you my mum's because I don't mind. I've got one for my mum, and I pay £106 a month because it's a substantial amount. So that would be my somewhat inheritance. So I'll cover her funeral with that, and then whatever's left over. Because when you work it out, what you pay in, you get more from it. So if you're going by the national death age, I'm actually ending up with about £15,000 to £20,000 more than what I've paid in. Not allowed to use investments with insurance, but it is, a whole of life definitely makes a lot of sense. So you are guaranteed to get something from that. And that's the only policy that you can say is for funeral. It's the only policy that you can say is for inheritance, to your kids. It's the only policy that can cover inheritance tax as well. So
that's go into detail about that, because I did want to touch on that, because I'm hearing a lot about this now. People are trying to find a way around that, because it's like, why are my children going to get taxed for something that I've worked hard to leave them? So, and then there's even the conversation of, do I give it to them before while I'm alive, so that way there's no tax on it? So please speak on that. Please definitely go into that.
Yeah, so I'll speak on the insurance side of things. So some people use insurance to cover inheritance tax for, whoever they're leaving the property to or their estate to. I would suggest that. And then what you do is you put it into trust, which bypasses probate and inheritance tax again on the policy. So it makes sense to do that. The only thing is you have to be a little bit careful if you are gifting properties. It has to be within it has to be 7 years, isn't it? So that is super, super important, because so basically, I'll give an example, because I always like examples. So my granddad, he had a property in Brixton and it sold for just under £1 million. Now what he did was he used some of that money and he paid off my mum's mortgage, and he gave all of us, like no grandkids, loads of money, tried to get rid of the money, but then he died within the 7 years. So there is a point of 7. So he's still going to be, basically, we're still liable for inheritance tax now that he's passed, but it's a smaller percentage. So basically each year that he stayed alive after he done that, the percentage goes down.
Okay.
So it's still good to do that. I think,
Yes.
but with that, I think, like, even having conversations with my mum, you know, about her property and doing things like that, I think a lot of parents don't trust it though, so they never do it. It's like they don't want to hand over their property and just, you know, kind of sign it over to their kids from now, which makes so much sense to do that. For some reason, there is I don't know what it is, that some are
No.
reluctant, some do it. I don't know.
Yes. I feel like to flip it on the other side, I feel like because parents watch their children, they watch each sibling, they watch the children and they say, hold on, you look like you know what you're doing, you not too sure. And then they also look at your interactions as siblings. So if you who know how to manage money, not good with the one who don't know how to manage money, me can't left it to none of one because I don't know who I got tear down who, I don't know who I
Yeah,
got do what to who. And parents don't want to have to wonder if you are going to fight and squander over something that should be for all. And what you do find as well is that now people say, you know what, Chuck, sell it, give me my half, you take your half, and then you lose the house. And then that now it almost propels a generational issue because that
yeah,
home now could have been passed down, passed down. That could be the second family home where when you want to do family gatherings or people come over and
yeah.
visit, you can have there rather than everybody each up in a somebody house who not really have the space for that or everybody each up in a hotel. No, we could have several family homes and you do it there.
But a
Speaking
lot
of,
of people, oh, go on,
yeah,
you
go ahead,
go. No, but a
go
lot
ahead.
of people, what happens sometimes, they want to keep the home, but they need to pay the inheritance tax. So they have to, so they're forced to sell the home sometimes, you know, to cover that amount. So if that is the case, and do you know what the most important thing is, sir? Is about everyone having the conversation. A conversation always needs to be had, you know, because there is a lot of people, you know, a lot of siblings always fighting afterwards. If you see it, it is. I know it too well with my mum and her sisters, and it's just ridiculous. So I always think there need to be things that are set in stone, just so that everyone knows where they stand, and there is, you know, everyone just organizing. This person gets this or this, just whilst
And
everyone's alive.
it's written agreement. It's written in agreement, not no word of
Yeah,
mouth. Because what you what granddad might tell your parent is different
yeah,
to what granddad told the uncle 3 year before, and then him tell the auntie something 6 year before that different. Because at different moments in time, depending on how the policy and things were and how life is going, so it's very very good to have it. It's almost like it has to be like a annual conversation. Like, all right, this time of the year we're gonna reassess all the policies, see what's
yeah,
going on, where do we stand, how we're looking, how we're going forward. And also, I think everybody in the family should have policies as well now because it's like, well, granddad has his policy, grandma has her policy. I think there's a policy for couples as well. So if you're married, there's
yeah.
also a next
Joint.
kind of policy. And
Yeah,
then you do and you can do that. And then obviously, children have policy, then the grandchildren have their own set of policies as well, so that we everybody's kind of covering themselves from the early onset. So definitely that is really really important.
it is.
Man, this is real education right now. Ooh, you know,
We're going into it deep, isn't it?
hmm definitely. So speak more now about the couples and the joint insurance. So say
Okay.
if you're both self-employed and you both have, and obviously there's children now, how would it work if okay how would it work if the children are from both of you? So say it's two kids and two kids belong to the both of you. There's no outside kids. How does that work compared to if the father had a child outside and the mother had a child outside and then they also have two kids together as well? How does
Um,
that work?
okay, in terms of, okay, let me break it down. So there's a couple, they've got two kids um inside of the marriage, and then maybe the man has his kids outside of the marriage. What that's all going to come down to is a trust form. So like I said, after you take out a policy, you can do a trust form and you can put down the beneficiaries. So that is what's going to determine who gets what, and literally that's it. There can't be the husband can have his policy. You know, this is what I always suggest. Even though you are married, I believe that everyone should have their own policy, and then they put it into trust to each other. Reason why I don't recommend joint policies is because they only pay out once. So it's who
Mm,
passes first. but yet you're paying double the money. Why would you do that? The only time I recommend it is if you have a property together. Then it's in the event of whoever, whoever dies, they will the house will be paid off for that person. So that's the
Okay,
only time
lovely.
it's a win. But I know where one of my colleagues, her client, no, her husband passed, no, her husband diagnosed with critical illness, and they had a joint policy. So now that policy is paid out, she now has to go and find her own policy. She's now older, so it's now more expensive. So in the first place, you should just get your own things. And then not even that, let's be honest as well, situations change as well. Things
Very
change.
true.
Yeah, let's just have our own things in place. But if you want to have that element of where it's still kind of tied with each other, then put it into trust to each other. That would only be my suggestion. The only thing with the critical illness policy, children are covered under that policy, so they have their own critical illness. So if one parent has it and the other parent has it, they have double. They have double protection on that side of things as well. I will touch on if any ladies are not currently, or they are planning on having a family. If you have a policy, you are covered through pregnancy as well. If you take the policy out whilst you're pregnant, they'll only cover your child once your child is born. So even anyone that's not got any kids yet, if you are planning on having children and things like that, it's good to have this in place. And if the man has in place, he still covers the pregnant girlfriend or wife as well through that policy. So that is important. So kind of going back to your question, I would say the only thing that's going to determine, everything is the trust form, putting the kids that are maybe outside of the marriage onto that trust form,
So
go on.
lovely, thank you. So you can have more now. It sounds like it sounds like you can have several insurance policies that don't clash, but
Yeah.
instead they work harmoniously. That's a lot of
Yeah, so
paperwork.
you can create a package. So myself, I'll tell you what I've got. I've got family income benefit, I've got whole of life, and I've got critical illness, and I've got income protection because I am considered as self-employed, and I've got private medical insurance. Those are, of course, I'm in this business, so I'm going to make sure I'm fully comped. We call it bulletproof cover. It means
Yes,
that you can't be touched at
yes.
all. So yeah, so that's the package that I built. They are separate policies, they come out as separate payments, and I like that because if you may at some stage feel like you don't need one, you can cancel one without having to cancel the rest, which I prefer because as we know, circumstances change. My suggestion is always to people is to reduce your cover, never cancel. A lot of people don't realize they can reduce the premiums instead of cancelling it. If you're paying £30 and you say, you know what, I've just lost my job, I will say, if you can spare £10, please, let's reduce that down to £10. Something better than nothing.
Exactly, exactly. Definitely, definitely. Ooh, okay, okay. So, man, this
A lot of information, isn't it? It is a lot.
it's a lot of information, and then the questions I had now, you've answered some, and then some of us popped into my head now. So I'm like, which one do I ask now? Because I don't want to double back on anything. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not missing out on the questions that I did have in mind. Definitely. Insurance, finance. What are your tips for people that are, struggling to stay afloat? Because it's not just about insurance now. Let's discuss now how we can navigate in these times. So, like, what are your tips and suggestions for people that are, looking at the climate that we're in and saying, wow, like,
Yeah,
money's
it's
changed
deep.
now, where we're almost in a limbo between the physical currency and the digital currency that they're pushing through, like crypto and Bitcoin and stuff. What's your views on that? Should people be investing in those things? What's the best way, or what are some of the best platforms to use to get into investment? What kind of investments are some of the most quote unquote bulletproof, or more long term safe proof investments that people can make right now?
Okay, I would definitely say in life you have to take a risk. For me, my quote is "She who dares wins." So I'm never afraid of taking risk in life. I'm in a position that I'm in now because I've taken risk. I've taken the risk to, to be in this position that I'm in. And you have to understand, I get my, how I get paid is commission only. But at the same time, I know that my children need to eat. So I know that I'm always going to work. I'm very, so I'm not scared. I'm not, I don't have that fear factor in me to think, no, how am I going to do this though? And a lot of people, I've realized this, and especially people that ask me about the position that want to come on board, when they hear, okay, oh, it's commission only, and I don't know because I've got bills and things that, I need to pay. And I get that some people need that security blanket, and that's okay. But you have to understand, and you have to kind of rate yourself that little bit more, that, are you going to allow yourself to sink, or are you going to swim? And
Mm.
that's very important. And I'm very about, positivity, energy. I tell myself every morning that I'm a winner. I'm destined for success. I just know myself and what I hold. And I wouldn't be in the position where I now have money to invest, if I didn't do this. Before I could have stayed at, where I was living paycheck to paycheck, literally just not having much, and then not just being in the same place. If you don't try, how are you gonna know? At least, do you know what I mean? So for me, everything is always worth a try, but it's about being educated as well, and getting and educate yourself. There is so much out there now where we can actually sit and learn, literally from our phones, from our laptops, from our iPads, wherever we could. I'm in the car sometimes just listening to things through my, stereo. There's so much there, but we just got to be willing to take the risk as people, and just and stop feeling afraid. Believe in yourself that little bit more. So for me, my next stage is definitely, I've saved a substantial amount in terms of getting into the property side of things now. I think that is always a win-win. um, in my eyes, it definitely makes sense. I have done my investigations and everything, educated myself on that. That's definitely the side which I would say is more guaranteed in terms of investments. But at the same time, if you're not in a position where you can do that, put yourself in a position. So we all keep talking now about side hustles. Create some. There is courses that you can take. One that my cousin done for Amazon. She's doing so well now. Like literally been on maternity leave, and now she set up like an Amazon shop. And she took a course that, yes, it cost her, I think, about £700. But what she has made, she made back her money and so much more. Now she's considering not going back to work, back to her her job, after she comes off maternity leave. But again, there's things out there, I just think if you don't have enough income, you need to think about bringing in another stream of income. You do, you really do. You're gonna remember, if we dedicate ourselves just an hour each day to something, do you know what that will equate to by the end of the week or by the end of the month? Just 1 hour. So even if you're working a 9 to 5 and you get home by 6:30, you come in and then you work till 7:30, just 1 hour, you've just equated 7 hours worth. There is a lot that you can do, and there's so much out there. Yeah, there's so much out there. With myself, I'm into the Ethereum and and all of that, but I'm more. I have someone that knows what they're doing, so I basically get told what to do and I do it and it works out. if
Yes,
I'm
that's
if I'm
important.
entirely honest.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. People, as they say in that financial spectrum world, do your due diligence. DD, do your due diligence. So look at people, join groups,
Yeah.
and listen to what they say. Because especially the groups that are not charging you as yet to be a part
Yes.
of them, or they're not charging you silly amounts like hundreds of pounds. If they're charging you something like £20 to join or £30 to join the group and
Yeah.
learn and listen in and get familiar. because then there's other people like you that have just joined too, who are going to be asking the questions that you're uncertain or you're afraid to ask, and then they can teach you, and then you can see in real time, okay, try Ethereum, try Litecoin, try
Yeah.
Bitcoin, invest in weed stocks, invest in
Yeah.
this, and remember,
Shares.
you can do fractional shares, you can do long-term shares, and obviously you can invest in stocks and commodities that they're not going to pay you out crazy in 1 year, but in
Yeah.
10 years time
Long
they're going to
time
be significant.
investments. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, because you can, and then obviously, as they say, diversify your portfolio, which is also the same thing that we have to do with life. Diversify your life. You don't just want to go to work, 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 work. No, weekends you enjoy weekends, and even your weekend, you alternate your weekends and what you do to
Yeah.
make your weekends fulfilling and pleasant. So it's definitely important to people get into those groups and learn and
Yeah. Just
because
do your due diligence though. Just be a little bit careful. I know a lot of people that's wasted a lot of money as well. Because the people that they've gone with, they don't necessarily care about the people, they more care about getting people with them. So you just have to be a little bit careful with that. Just find out more information. Don't be so quick or hasty just to rush into things. But definitely my biggest recommendation is getting additional income coming in. Like create your own, little business. Even my other cousin, she just went and done a lash course, just so that she can, in the evening, she can do that shit. It's bringing in some extra money. Like, I don't think that we can sit there and say we don't have much and then not do anything about it. I'm not into that.
and also another thing as well is that I think what for people, and sometimes this is also for me as well, is that this person is doing it and that person is doing it as well, so I don't want to do it because I don't want to be
Yeah.
following up copying. But it is like, yo, there's enough people in the world for you to do it. Prime example, right now on the high street, if I look outside this wall now, I've got a Co-op right in front of me there, I've got a Tesco there, I've got a Sainsbury's there, and an Iceland there.
Yeah.
So that's the four common, easy to access high street supermarkets. And then in addition to that, I still have three off licenses along the same road. We're
Yeah.
all selling the same Walker's cheese and onion crisp. We're all selling the same Evian water,
It's true.
all of it. And then also taking card and contactless and cash. So that's like 8 shops selling the same thing.
Yeah.
And nobody's complaining. Everybody's getting on with it because
Everyone's making money. Yeah, it's
one
true.
person might run out of stock one day, one person that now have it under sale right now, and you take it from there and do that. So definitely, if I had to get into that, it's International Women's Month, and that's another reason why you're on here as well, because you're a phenomenal woman doing phenomenal things in your industry. So, what's it like for you as a woman in the industry? What are the ups and downs? What are the highs and lows of being in the insurance industry, being in the finance world? Do you feel like you're not taken as seriously, or sometimes you're undermined or overlooked because you're a woman and you're a black woman?
I'm quite lucky because the business that we're in, so I'm going to explain it just so that you guys can understand it a little bit more. So we work under a broker. Now, the person that owns that broker is a guy called Ralph. Now, there's 9 different regions within that broker. Yeah. So I'm one of the regions and my director is black. So there it is very much, you bring in a lot of people, it's very much a black business. So in terms of any form of race in that sense, there's no problem in that. In terms of being a woman, I think because I've come in very strong and I'm quite strong-willed, I've never really experienced that. The only thing that I say I experience is the other guys will get like cast. I would say cast sometimes. That look, she's a woman. Look what she's doing. She's doing this. She's got 2 kids, single mom. What's your excuse? It's more on that. But then I think no. Why should you be compared? Why is that still an issue? Why is it that you say because she's a woman? Why are you? So there is always going to be that,
Yes.
because if it was another man doing well, they're going to say, oh,
It's a single man with 3 kids.
yeah, it's not. Why is it that a woman? And I'll be honest with you, me and my ladies, I've got one guy on my team. Bless him. I think women just are drawn to me, so there's loads of women, and we dominate this industry that we are, you know, to some extent, maybe putting some men to shame. But maybe because, I don't know, our drive's different. A lot of us are mothers, and for me, it's now or never, you know, and I've never felt that way before. It's either I do something now or I just say, do you know what? This is life. And I'm never going to just say this is life. I've genuinely found something that I absolutely love. I love mentoring, you know, I love being a leader. And that's very important in my field. And my director is my mentor. So even though we're saying I'm a manager, I'm a mentor. Even though he's saying he's a director, in terms of the structure, those are the titles that we've been given. But he is my mentor. He's taught me about mindset. You know, he's taught me how to be disciplined, how to like be consistent in anything that you're doing. You know, we watch motivational videos every morning into WhatsApp groups. You know, it's about building people, you know, and that's very important. I've lost friends on the way because they probably don't understand that I'm very like, might not check in as much because I'm just on what I'm on. And it's just a part of the process when you are, you know, wanting to get to a certain type of level. You kind of have to just shut out all of the rubbish around you and just say, do you know what? Any extra time that I've got as well has to go to my children. You know, I spend a lot of time away for them. So the weekends, I want to look in my children's face and spend time. I then don't have time to then have meaningless conversations on the phone. I'm not that person you call. If you're talking about money, you're talking about investments, and you're talking about things, then we're going to have those conversations, you know. So in terms of,
and even besides that, I feel like as a mother, you need that time just to be a mother.
100%. And I really, now I so much more, I think I've taken it for granted a little bit before when I was home. And you know, because I'm kind of like my mom in the sense of, she just used to work part-time. My mom never used to work, you know, full-time. She always wanted to see what her kids are doing and, you know, make sure they're home to cook. So I kind of followed that way. And then this was only supposed to be part-time. And I was like, no, the potential in this and what I now can do for my kids and, you know, just life being so much better that when it's time for school uniform, I'm not struggling to buy that school. It's just school uniform and okay, cool, done. So as a mother, you can look at it as like, yes, no, I have to be there for my kids. I have to be like, pick them up from school. I have to do that. Or you can think where you want to change that cycle, you know, that generational cycle. And you actually want to, you know, put wealth into your family. And I will definitely, because I would say my granddad definitely did, but then it was missed. It went wrong. Somewhere it went wrong. And now I'm starting it up again, you know. So that's very, very important. Yeah, it's very important, man. We've got to change the narratives. We have to change the narratives. So I'm all for that. So in the industry, I wouldn't say it's hard. You just get a lot of, you know, being compared to men. But in terms of what I've achieved in such a short space of time, yeah, it is good. So the aim of what me is now, I'd be senior manager, then I get my own region, then I have my own limited company. Yeah, so that's literally how it works. And I'm just, yeah, I've got my full team, and yeah, we're just gonna be out here. there is a lot of us. You'll probably see on Instagram. There is a lot of us.
Yes, which is good, which is important. How beneficial has it been using social media for you in these times? Do you feel like sometimes it's a struggle, it's a challenge, you know, because like I said, or like we said earlier, the market is it's not saturated yet, but you have the people that are just pulling people along for their own personal gain rather than mentoring. And I like the term you used earlier, you're a mentor. And also you used the word leader. You didn't say boss, you said leader. You know, you're not, and even though you have the manager or the director title, so you're still a mentor because you really want to uplift, you want to elevate, you want to grow people because of your own personal experiences. So that is just testament to, you know, the success you're having and the growth and the development that you're going to continue to see going forward as well. You mentioned children, you mentioned, you know, the struggles of balancing work and family life. What about even still staying on that topic, relationships and stuff like? how has things changed for you? Because I'm assuming in the pandemic now, has the workload increased? Have you seen your children less?
Yeah,
How are you coping with what doing? Um, how can the phrase homeschooling? Yeah, because I
yeah,
know
yeah,
a lot of the parents are struggling with that, and you're
yeah. It
really.
was hard.
My pick me is saying that the teacher is this and that, but really and truly, it might be you, my pick me, because home now, you're giving me a little bit of attitude or a little bit of way that I feel like
Yes,
no,
yes,
so maybe your teacher was right at parenting, and I'm
yes.
defending, but really and truly, I should be looking at both sides of the coin. So talk on that. How is that for you as a mom and as a woman? You know, really navigating and balancing that because your work
Yeah.
is not tedious, it's not simple,
No,
but we can
it's
see that
it.
your love and dedication to your children is important. So yes, speak to us on
Yeah.
that.
I've got a different level of respect for teachers. I'll definitely add that now. You know, just that little bit more. Even when, especially my son's form tutor, she often calls and we just used to speak, and I say, "No, Miss Faith, I've got so much respect for you now. I get it. I really understand it because it's not easy. You know, that was a job in itself, and literally, I was going into the office 3 days and then 2 days with them, my aunt. So I'm very much always juggling. I'm so thankful though. I've got cousins and I've got aunt and I've got a mum that's very, very supportive. So they've helped me out a lot because it's not easy. And I'm a person that, you know, when you're spending so much time on one thing, it's like, and they're getting bored, you know, because they're just sitting around the table and you're
Mm,
telling them to do it. I'm sorry, that was very, very hard. It was, I think that was a challenge in itself, homeschooling, because I'm not used to that. Of course, you do a little homework and you do all of that, and you know, but it was hard. And they've changed a lot of things since my time. I'm 35, but they've changed a lot since. So I didn't understand some things. I'm Googling, you know, I'm going on YouTube. I didn't understand some things that was being said. But with my son, it was a little bit easier. He's 14. My daughter's 10. So that was a little bit more where I had to just do so much more. So it wasn't easy. But business got super, super busy. But because we used to do it face to face, so we'd only just see clients. We wanted that real personal, you know, touch to the business and going to visit them, and especially older people going to see them, you know, building a rapport with people
yeah.
so that they know that, you know, I'm your advisor, I'm here with you. You know, sometimes you go to their house, you get food. Like I do miss that side of things. The pandemic's hit now, and we've had to change over to where it's just phone consultations. For me, I like to do Zooms. I love
Mhm.
doing Zooms because it's just exactly like how what we're doing now is us having a conversation, and I'm getting to see who I'm speaking to as well. They're getting to see, you know, who they're speaking to as well. And I feel like I said, you just build a better rapport and you kind of build that trust a little bit more, because when you're dealing with something that's quite personal, I think you do have to trust that person that she's going to do right by you, you know, that, you know, there's not no dodgy business. And you know, because some people are skeptical, you know, so that's very important. But yeah, so at the time when the pandemic hit, you know, people, they don't realize that they need something until something happens, and that was the point. I think my phone didn't really stop, and it's just been that way ever since, to be honest. But what I worked out and what I realized that I enjoyed doing was things like this, going lives, podcasts. So where I used to do events, so I used to go networking a lot, or I'd go to the gyms and I'll pull my banner up, which will have fracture cover and all of these things. I'm always quite creative in how I do things, even though
That's
yes, we are selling a product. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an advisor. I advise you on, you know, I don't like to consider myself that way. So I'm never going to keep ringing someone's phone. You know, you have to treat people with respect. And that's what a lot of people need to start realizing that as well. So where I used to do a lot of events and go and speak, you know, sometimes I'll speak at churches and, you know, things like that on a Sunday. I had to change it because now the world has stopped, isn't it? So what are you going to do, Andrea? These are the things I say to myself. I say, are you going to sink or swim? What are you doing? Come on, how are we doing this? And then I realized, I said, well, they're doing live. This person doing webinar. Okay, let's try this now. Start reach out to a few people, doing the live, really enjoyed it. And yeah, and even Prissy, I call her, who contacted you. I met her at an event, and she is my client. And now she helps me because I'm quite busy with the team and everything else. And it's just, yeah, like I
That's
changed
cool.
over, and I'm happy. I'm very, very
And that's
happy.
good. I love that. I love that. This has been truly, truly motivating, truly, truly insightful. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Really, 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 really enjoyed this conversation today, Andrea. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time. Folks, please, please, please. It's been a lot to digest for even for me. My head is frazzled right now, but it's so,
Spinning.
so, so key. So good. Take a moment to please go and share this video with a loved one, with a friend, with a colleague, with your cousin, with your neighbor. Get into securing yourself. Remember, we said at the start of the video, you're the bag, secure yourself. Because once you secure yourself, you're good to go. And I know this video has been, it's an hour and a bit, but take your time, watch it over again, dissect it, make the notes, the terms are there. And of course, the Instagram page, Twitter page, and Andrea's website are all in the description box below. It's a click away. Get in contact, get your free consultation, like she said, and you can sit down and you can decide what next steps to take, what next steps your family members need to take as well, because so many of us are in times now where it's all about change. The tides are changing, there's coming in and out. So let's do right by ourselves. Let's ensure that we're protecting ourselves the best way possible. And we definitely want to get bulletproof like you are in terms of all the different insurances. So that's key. Andrea, thank you so much for your time. You've been truly amazing, and I look forward to seeing what else you have in store for 2021, because we're doing webinars, you're doing the Zooms, you're doing the lives, so much more. Shouts out again as well to Prissy for reaching out. That's the Stepmoms Club. Make sure you follow them as well,
Yeah.
because they show you what it's like to be a stepmom or a stepdad, and juggling in and joining into that family life, which is so key again with what is happening in the world right now. So people, this is Flags 365. This is Doing It 365. I've been your host, influential lovely Andrea's here. Make sure you go and follow her on IG. Check out her website. Check her out on Twitter. This is Doing It 365, where we highlight the prominent entities in the Afro-Caribbean community with great things. It's been a pleasure. Comment, like, share, and hit the notification bell and subscribe for the next episode. Take care, folks. Goodbye.